All right. Hello. Welcome to Stateless Implementers Call 29. This is issue 1247 in the PM repo. Yeah, we can start things off if there are any client team updates. Maybe Guillaume, you want to kick things off?
Sure. Yeah, just collecting my thought. So maybe in going back in time from the most recent, Ignacio has been working on a tool to do a lot of measurements about pre-images. We start getting some results, but we're not quite ready to publish them. We will definitely talk about it next time. Otherwise, before that, there was publication of an EIP draft that you should all have received a link to. If not, contact me offline. I will send it to you. Yeah. So the goal was to get some clarity and into what Verkle was competing against, and so that we could have a list of trade-offs and make a proper decision. So there might be some questions like we have some time at the end of the SIC to discuss that. I'm not the one who wrote most of the EIP, so yeah, if you have specific questions about the document, we'll wait for Ignacio to come back. He'll make a presentation, but of course I know how it's supposed to work. So yeah, if there are general questions, I can answer that. Otherwise, I was working on the rebase of our branch onto the latest guest master. So I produced a couple PRs, but as always in Geth, they take forever to be merged. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think, yeah.
I can on Bezo's side. Well, feel free if you want.
No, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So on Bezo, it
Karim, you muted if you're not
yeah,
aware.
sorry. Is it better? Sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was saying it will not be long for Bezo. Just so Thomas is still working on proof validation, so cleaning this part. So he didn't have time to work on it yet, but normally he will try to focus on that during the next week. So when we will have that, it will unblock the stateless part implementation in Bezo. So I started a refactor of Bezo in order to simplify the stateless integration. So I have a PR that is ready, and I will have another PR also just to add the stateless part. We are also trying to clean the Verkel branch, having all of the new and past tests to green. So we are close to have all of the tests passing. So it's really nice to have that, because before the Verkel branch was a fork, but not really. We didn't have time to test all of the test suite. So now we are trying to have everything clean. And we also merge the flat database based on STEM. And as I don't know if I already said that, but Bezo is running in the DevNet with this flat database. For the moment, everything is okay. Luis is also finishing the block hash gas cost modification, so it's almost ready. It should be finished in this week, and yeah, it's mainly that on Bezo side.
I can go next. On Nethermind, I don't have any significant updates. I was looking into other things for the past few weeks. But like Nethermind client is following the DevNet 7 properly, and in the upcoming weeks, I'll start testing workload sync and stateless execution on the new DevNet.
Cool. Any other updates? All right, we can move on. Agenda item number 2, Guillaume, you had a jump-related issue on the current testnet that you wanted to get into.
Yep. So while working on all that rebase, I was also actually trying to refactor the proof generation to be a bit more efficient, and we ran into this this bug. It's actually active on the testnet, so you guys should look at your code to see if you've got the same problem. And I'm going to share my screen to describe the problem. Looking for my window as always. Is that the one? Sorry, just a moment. It's always interesting. The window is not part of the of the list. No, okay, that's the one. Okay, sorry about that. So what's happening here is that we had a problem that when the code was a valid jump destination, was an invalid jump destination, we would charge access cost and then exit. And what we did instead, because we thought it was more correct, is that we only charged this. Okay, so there was a bug in our branch. It would be charging the access cost all the time when the jump was invalid, when the jump dest was invalid, even when this was not vertical. So to do this, I activated the EIP 4762 switch to protect to prevent this from happening. And that activated a weird bug in which if you are in a deployment context, it would charge the gas cost. So if I'm not mistaken, but we can take this to the channel, of course, but just so that you guys should be aware, there was no protection for deployment, which means that if you are, and this happens on the testnet as far as I can tell, if you have a deployment code that jumps somewhere that is not a valid jump dest, it will charge the costs when it should not, or the other way around. I forgot. No, exactly. It would not charge the cost. Yeah, of course, as soon as I speak about it in public, I get confused. But the idea is there. There's a block around 1,400 where there's an invalid jump dest, and gas gets charged when it should not, right? Because it's deployment, so it should not be charged, and it is charged. That's it. So just for your information, if so many clients were able to join the testnet, that means that presumably you've got this bug as well. So please look into it. I can copy paste this issue for you to look at. But yeah, please have a look, because we would like to. I mean, we will have fixed it for the new testnet, and yeah, we just to make sure we agree. None of the execution spec tests were covering this, because it's a very, very intricate thing that we just found. But yeah, once again, please have a look and make sure we're all compatible. Yeah, Luis?
Yeah, I think I remember this was the last time that we agreed that a failed contract deployment could still has some gas charging for the statelessness. I think I need to look into that. That happened the last year, so I don't fully remember.
But what would it be charging for? Because it's got. I mean, okay, yeah, we can also take that offline. But
yeah,
if it's deployment, then there's nothing to add to the witness, right? Because it's not a space that belongs to the permanent state. So you should not be adding anything. And if you're not adding anything, presumably you should not be charging the cost for that. But okay, let's. Yeah, that was the point. Just so that you guys are aware. we can take that offline. It was just a heads up.
Cool. Is that all you had on this, Guillaume?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, I guess it's continue on with you for agenda item number 3 around rebasing for the next testnet.
Yeah. So there's a couple things. I have to look for the window again, but the first one was to go do a round of asking all the clients if we do a rebase for the next testnet. And once again, Geth is not quite ready for that yet, but do we want to do it on top of Cancun, or do we want to do it on top of Petra, which hopefully happens in the next 2 months? I don't know. I'm gonna call out people, and you can tell me. For example, Karim and Louis, what are you ready for?
So what we're ready for? I think we are ready for the next testnet. I don't see any. Well, the block hash is still not fully working, but I'm not sure. I don't think Get is also has that implemented, or does it? Because we were following the heads of the previous testnet. So
yeah, it should be implemented, unless I'm not aware of, unless I forgot.
I mean the new gas costs scheduling for block hash from the system contract.
Right, that one.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I want to talk about.
Okay, cool.
Next, but apart from that, yeah, okay. So no, we don't have that. You're right, and it's not implemented in Geth. But yeah, in that case, that makes no difference whether we choose Spectre, because we need it on the Verkle testnet anyway. So it doesn't. Yeah, if it's not completely ready inside the master branch, it doesn't matter, because it's going to be implemented differently in at least for us in a post Spectra, sorry, a post Verkle world from a post Spectra world, right? We're not calling the contract. I don't know if you guys are calling the contract, but we are not.
No, just picking from storage.
Yeah. Okay, Gajinder just said we can do Pectra because we have most of the Verkle code in master. Lucky. Yeah.
I just wanted to say, except that, also we are close to the main branch, so I don't think it will be problem for Bezu.
That's nice. Okay, so Pectra would be, and I guess it makes sense to stick to Pectra. The only problem with Pectra, actually, none of us is ready, but that's gonna be my next point. We need to support. Oh wait, 7702 is part of Pectra, right? I'm not making this up.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. So if that's the case, then we need to solve one more issue to do Pectra, but we have time. We can still do this. Just before, I wanted to ask Tanish the same question. Like, what do you prefer?
So I think Nethermind is the current Verkle implementation is already rebased on Cancun, so that is good. But I think we can do Pectra as well. It will be a bit slow on Nethermind because we recently made a lot of performance improvements, or like in general design changes.
Yeah.
Might take some time, but I'm okay doing it on Pectra as well.
Okay, so Cancun would be your preferred. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Okay.
would be preferred, but I think Pectra is better. Else, like we'll just keep lagging behind one fork every time. So yeah.
No, yeah, it's better. Okay, I mean, depending on how long it takes Guess to merge my PRs, we might even be talking about Osaka. But yeah. Okay, cool. So now I wanted to talk about the other, like basically this question of 7702. So looking for the window again. Here we go. So there was this update to the EIP. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's for EOF, but actually same thing applies to 7702. And the question was, do we need to, like, how do we identify a 7702 contract or an EOF contract? And so Dano gave some input here, which is you should read the EF00 approach. I was considering to, like, at least in the initial version of this draft, to use a different account version, but I don't think after all it's a great idea, because you have to, ideally the account versioning would only change when you have a different type of account and not when you have a different code model. So the alternative would be to just read, for example, when you have a code, an Xcode hash, you would need to read first the code, like the first chunk of code, to check the first 2 bytes. And if those 2 bytes are EF01, for in the case of 7702, then it's a 7702 contract. Where it's a bit wasteful is that you can guess that just from the hash, right? You can read the hash directly and say, oh, this is a 7702 contract, so I need to jump and go to a different I mean, you need to read the code again. I guess you need to read the code no matter what. So in the case of 7702, yeah, it doesn't matter how you do it, but you need to read at least the first chunk and the first and the code hash. The code hash. Yeah, so basically that's where the thinking is. I'm also copy pasting the link to that EIP. I was asking Adrien earlier today, so I don't know if you want to talk about this. You don't have to, but I was a bit worried that we would have to spend another 200 gas for just a code hash. But Adrien was saying it doesn't really matter because it's not called very often if I summarize it properly. Okay, I guess it doesn't want to talk. That's fine. Okay, confirmed. That is your feeling. So, Gajinder, you were saying the hash would vary with delegation address. I don't think it does, or is it an update? I'm not aware of that, if that's the case. Yeah, okay. My understanding, but it dates back from September last year, is that you have to read the first chunk, and if it starts with EF01, then the next 20 bytes are the delegation address. But the hash itself is not the hash of that, but it's the hash of EF01, just EF01. Just the way EOF has the code hash, regardless of what code is stored, is always EF00, which, by the way, kind of goes into the direction of saying, well, yeah, we should use a different version, because clearly the contract storage is not exactly the same. It's not the same kind of account. But yeah, that would force us to read yet another leaf, and I think it's a bit wasteful at this point. Even if ideally for future proofiness we should be reading the version all the time. Yeah, I think we shouldn't really we shouldn't do it right now. Okay, so Gajinder confirmed it's always the same value. Okay. Yeah, so okay, my current I mean, please have a look at this PR. Tell us what you think. But the idea is that my preferred approach right now would be to just read the first, so not add a new version, but read the first bytes of, like, the first chunk of the code and the code hash even in the case of an Xcode hash, and then return that. Yeah, unless there's comments, I guess we can move on. So what would be added to the witness would be that value you just wrote, the Ketchak. Like this would need to be in the witness because whoever replays the block has to go to the code hash leaf and read it to realize it's it's being returned, if I'm not mistaken. When you call an Xcode hash, you need to return. That's a good question. I don't remember that from the top of my head. If you do an Xcode hash on an account that is a delegated account, does it return the code hash? Right. I remember talking to Matt about this. Yes, it does return the code hash of the delegated account. So you need to read both values. You need to read the code and the code hash. No, you don't actually. So you just need to read the code actually, and then go and get the code hash off the account that you are delegating to. Okay, that needs to be double checked. But if I understand correctly, this is the course of action. Yeah, I have to check that, and we can settle this question next time, hopefully. But from what I understand, yes, you would just need to read the code first, check that it's a delegation, and then add to the witness the code hash leaf of the target account, the delegated account. Yeah, exactly. For every code hash, we read the first 2 bytes and then we do the next thing. Exactly. Okay, if there are no more questions, I know what I have to find out. Do we want to have a couple, do people have question about the EIP draft that Ignacio published, knowing that he will make a presentation about it next time? But if there are some top level questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
This is the binary tree EIP.
Yeah.
I guess also just more of a meta discussion around larger question here. Yeah, like there's been a number of conversations on this topic over the past few months, and I don't know if maybe the idea, Guillaume, I think that you hinted at earlier, was just having sort of opening it up to a little bit of a Q&A and just seeing if anyone has thoughts that they've been marinating on since the new year, or since the holidays. But maybe we save it for the next call and we can get more into the meat of it. All right.
No takers, I guess. Yeah. I guess we can wrap up and have the presentation next time then.
Yeah. I mean, clearly it's one of the more important topics for us to get internal clarity on. Binary trees, path to statelessness, all of that good stuff. I think we all sort of understand and want clarity on that and figure out the best path forward for us internally as we continue to discuss, organize calls, and work together on this. So maybe it's what we actually use most of the next call for. Guillaume, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's what we should do indeed.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks everybody for joining. Can end it there, and talk to you soon.
Oh, actually, Joshua, sorry.
Sure.
Since we have some time, could I ask something as well?
Sure thing.
Yeah, so that's for Guillaume. I wanted to ask what's the situation for the call codes, the question that I asked last time. So I think we landed on not removing the costs for call codes when there's a value transfer. But I think last time you said you were going to check with someone why was that removed.
Yeah, no, I think okay. I ran into that code 2 days ago. Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't remember the answer, but let me. I'll check it up and sync with you offline if you don't mind. But
Sure, no problem.
my understanding is that yes, we are not charging. If I remember correctly, what I read 2 days ago, we are not charging. Because the call code has 0 value, we're not doing this charge anymore. We're not doing this.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, yeah, it makes sense either way because you also don't want to make the call codes more cheaper, or if you remove it, you can also remove it because we're not transferring anything, we're not updating anything on the storage. But
Yep.
yeah, so I just wanted some clarity on that, whether which one to go. Should we stay here, or should we leave it like this, or should we modify it? Okay, we'll sync offline anyway. Thanks.
Cool. All right. See y'all later.
Yep. Take care. Bye.
Adios.
Ciao.